Okay, we're going to start today right at the very, very top of the page. I want to just review what we're up to. We were talking about the question in the middle of Samach Aleph Amud Bet. Do they have sanctity to them, these amulets? And therefore, the question was, they said, well, what's the issue? And eventually they said the issue is going to the bathroom. Can you go into the bathroom with an amulet or not? So they said basically that it seems from our Mishnah, since our Mishnah allows amulets on Shabbat, therefore, if they're proven to work, therefore, if you can go with an amulet, then it must be that you can go into the bathroom, because otherwise we'd be concerned maybe you take off the amulet and carry it in Reshut HaRabim. So we ended with suggesting, oh no, but theoretically, holding an amulet in your hand is actually the way people used amulets also. They didn't just tie them around their necks, for instance. So therefore, maybe that would also be allowed, and therefore, we don't care. You could theoretically put it down when you go to the bathroom, because you can't go into the bathroom with it, take it in your hand and walk around with it in your hand, and that would be allowed on Shabbat. So now the Gemara says, V'hatanya, but wait, there's a braita that contradicts that. Rabbi Yoshaya Omer b'vad shaleach zenu biyado v'yavirenu arba amot b'reshut harabim. Rabbi Yoshaya says, you can't use this amulet if you're holding it in your hand, okay? You're not allowed to do that. So therefore, it can't be that. So we're still trying to figure out, can we learn from our Mishnah that one, we're back to saying, our Mishnah teaches us, you obviously can't go into a bathroom with it, because if you would, we wouldn't allow you to go in Reshut HaRabim with the amulet, because you might take it off before you go into the bathroom, and then you'll end up accidentally carrying it, right? What will happen, you'll walk out of the bathroom, you'll forget that you had this amulet. You'll forget that it's Shabbat. You'll pick up the amulet and start walking with it. So, so what do they say in the end? No, you really can go. The issue is this. You really can't go into the bathroom with it. And therefore, what must it be talking about? That it's covered with leather. If it's covered with leather, we learned this back in Brachot. If you have something that you can't go to the bathroom with, but it's protected, it's in a bag, and there we even saw, right, halachically you actually have to double wrap it. So if it's covered with leather, then you can go into the bathroom with it. And that's what the Mishnah is allowing. The Mishnah is allowing you to walk out of Reshut HaRabim with an amulet that's covered with leather, that's proven to work, right? Because that you were bringing to the bathroom with you, we don't have to worry you're going to end up carrying it. But if it's not covered in leather, actually, then there's this concern that maybe you'll put it down when you go into the bathroom, because you can't go into the bathroom with it, and then you'll come to carrying it arba amot, and that wouldn't be allowed. So basically, we end up saying that really you can't go with an amulet. Now, the assumption here is if it has the name of God in it. Okay, if it has the name of God, you can't go in with it to the bathroom. And after class yesterday, for those who were still there, and for those listening online, I'll tell you. So we had Ellie told us that she has an amulet that's an old ancient amulet, and it specifically has the name of God, the letters of the name of God, but not in the right order. And it's to allow you to go into the bathroom. That's what she learned when she bought it. It's a replica of something ancient. And the whole idea was they would mix up the letters of God. And in fact, there was something in yesterday's daf, I don't remember where it was, but it talked about that they have shemot in them, right? And, here. Sheyesh behen otiyot uminyanot harbe shebatorah, right? It has letters and things of the Torah in them, which sounded like psukim, but it didn't exactly say the name of God specifically. So it sounds like a lot of the amulets were made in this way so that you could actually go into the bathroom with them, okay? But otherwise you wouldn't be able to unless it was covered with something. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute. Once you cover it with leather, that should resolve it and you can go into the bathroom. Tefillin were covered with leather, right? We know that. Tefillin have leather boxes. It says in a braita that you have to take off your tefillin before you get into the bathroom, and that's also covered with leather. So the answer, hata mishum shin. That's because there's a shin on the tefillin, right? There's actually two shins on the tefillin shel rosh, and there, because of the shin, that's representative of the name of God, and therefore you can't go into the bathroom with it because the leather itself has the name of God on it. Amar Abaye, shin shel tefillin halacha l'Moshe miSinai, and Abaye also said, Amar Abaye, daled shel tefillin halacha l'Moshe miSinai, but Amar Abaye, yud shel tefillin halacha l'Moshe miSinai. The tefillin are made up of those three letters which spell out the name of God, Shaddai. The shin is on the box of the tefillin shel rosh. The dalet is in the back that goes behind the head. It's actually not written. It's the way the straps are wrapped together. It makes the shape of a dalet. And on the tefillin shel yad, when you put it on your arm, it makes it looks like a yud. Okay, the shape, the way you wrap them makes it look like a yud. And that's the shin dalet yud. And that's why you can't go into the bathroom with tefillin, even though they're wrapped in leather. But again, back to the kameh, the amulet, you could go even if it's wrapped in leather. Last part of our Mishnah before we get to the new Mishnah, v'lo b'shiryon, v'lo b'kasta, v'lo b'magafayim. Shiryon, zarda. Okay, this is a coat of mail. Okay, if you look in the Koran, they have pictures of the upcoming 3 items. So the coat of mail is basically this metal made of, it's made of scales. It's like a scale-like type thing. That's the top picture. The second is we're going to talk about the kasda, okay, the helmet, which is actually, they say is, Gemara says, Amarav sanvarta, which they say is a leather hat that went underneath this big metal, this helmet of armor. And the third is magafayim, amarav pismaki. These are magafayim that were made of armor. So if you look at the picture, it might be hard to see from the video, but trying to show it here, there's a sandal, and attached to the sandal is a big metal piece there, okay, to protect the leg. So it was a piece of armor that they would attach to a sandal. That was their boot. Okay, they didn't have boots like we have, but it wasn't made like a boot. It was made like a shoe, and then they would add to it. Okay, moving on to the next Mishnah. Lo tetzeh isha b'machat hanekuva v'lo b'tabat sheyesh alei chotam v'lo b'kulyar v'lo b'kovelet v'lo b'tzluchit shel playton v'im yatzta chayevet chatat divrei Rabbi Meir. Okay, I wanted to read to the end just to get to this important line that all these things according to Rabbi Meir, and now I'll go and explain them. All these things according to Rabbi Meir are asur midoraita. We started, let's just go to the structure of the Mishnah. We started with all the items a woman can't go out with, but we said all those things, if she goes out with them, it's only asur midorabanan, because really they're jewelry or something that she would wear, but we're worried she might take it off or it might fall. Then we went into what things can a man go out with that if he went out with, he'd be chayav chatat. It would be asur midorabanan, right? So we started with all the dorabanans, and now we're moving to deoraita. What is forbidden by Torah law that a woman can't go out with? So a machat nikuva, right? Before we had the machat she'ena nikuva, it didn't have the eye of a needle in it. This has the eye of a needle. Some people say we're actually talking about a woman who's a weaver, and it's her tools that she uses during the week, and that's why she can't go out with this. Or tabat sheyesh alei chotam, which again is a work item. She would only use the signet ring if it was for work purposes, and therefore that's not jewelry. Women don't walk around with jewelry with a signet ring. That's not something women will walk around with, which then makes it a masoy. Not with a kulyar. We're going to have to see in the Gemara what this is. Lo b'kovelet, this is a little package of spices that she would wear. V'lo b'tzluchit shel playton, not with a flask of balsam oil. Okay, if you remember, every time we mention balsam, they start talking about how amazing balsam oil is. We're going to do the same thing here. V'im yatzta chayevet chatat. So again, as we said, according to Rabbi Meir, all these things are forbidden by Torah law. V'chachamim potrim b'kovelet u'b'tzluchit shel playton. The rabbis disagree about 2 of these items. They say the kovelet and the tzluchit shel playton, these 2 things are only asur midorabanan, not from Torah law. Okay, here comes our interesting line. Amar Ula, it's coming up soon. B'chilufehen b'ish. It's the exact opposite by a man. Okay, we're going to start talking about differences between men and women. Some people think this is referring to everything in the Mishnah, that basically the things that she's obligated, midoraita, he's obligated only midorabanan, and things that he's obligated doraita, she's obligated midorabanan. Rashi says we're actually only talking about the ring. And the ring, and this we talked about before, if it has a signet ring, a man will generally wear that as jewelry, and therefore he can go out in it. A woman doesn't, and therefore she can't. So again, right, there's a difference. Maybe it's only in the ring case, maybe it's in other cases. So now we're going to infer something from Ula, and then we're going to question it, and then we're going to come up with a different understanding, and we're going to have say one of these, every once in a while you get to an amazing line in the Gemara, like, wow, the Gemara really says this, so hold off, we're getting there. Alma kasever Ula. So it sounds like Ula is saying, the Gemara says, sounds like he's saying that what men generally wear, women don't wear. What women generally wear, men don't wear, right? In other words, things that they use in one way, women use in a different way, women use one way, men use in a different way, and the reverse. Mativ Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense halachically, though. If they use things in different ways, still, okay, we're going to see. Here, I'll hold off on finishing my sentence. Let's read it inside, and then I'll explain. Haro'in yotzim b'sakin. Okay, generally the shepherds had a particular way they would wear like a sock, some sort of bag, like a sack they would wear it as clothing. So they can go out because it's their specific way they wear it as clothing, even though other people don't. If they wear it, that's their clothing, they can walk out in it. But here comes the interesting line here. This is in the Tosefta. It says, "V'lo haroim bilvad amru." Not only can shepherds go out like this, ela kol adam. Okay, everyone can really go out that way. Since the shepherds dress like that, and it's clothing for shepherds, therefore we're going to consider it clothing for everybody. Why did they specifically say shepherds then? Ela shadorkan sharoim, let's say pesakim, since that's generally the way they go out. They didn't say you can walk out like this because we don't expect you to walk out like that. Well, the Tosefta was speaking to, you can go with your type of clothing, you can go with yours. But what it really meant is anyone can go with that clothing because it's clothing for shepherds, so it's clothing for everyone. Well, if that's the case, then let's say it like this. If the signet ring is clothing for men or jewelry for men, then women should be able to go out with it also because it's all part of the same category, right? In other words, there are some people who use it as clothing like the shepherds. We could say the same thing for men and women. So here comes the great line. Ela amar Rav Yosef, kasavar ula nashim am bifnei atzman hen. Okay, women are a whole different nation into themselves. They're not anything having to do with men, right? You could say there's shepherds and there's non-shepherds. Those are all, categories that we could sort of put together. Men, women, nothing to do with each other. Okay, those are considered two different nations, so to speak, and therefore we don't combine what's unique for one and what's unique for the other. It's just kind of a funny line. We know there's been books written about these topics, about the differences between men and women. As I said a while ago, a few days ago, because here's really the line in the Daf Mishalahen this week, they really focus on this line in particular, and they took it and went in depth about it. So if your Hebrew's good enough, then I recommend you listening. They have pretty reasonable, easy Hebrew to follow. Okay, Eitive. So now, right, and you can find that on Hadron's site, you can find it on the Hebrew side. Okay, so basically we have Ula, who says it's the opposite for men and women, right? And therefore, we say what's true for men aren't true for women because those are two totally separate entities. Eitive Abaye. Abaye now questions, and we're going to have another interesting thing that you'll probably be surprised that it says this in the Gemara. Abaye questions from the following source. Hamotzei tefillin. Let's say it's on Shabbat, and you're out on the street, and you find a pair of tefillin, and they're left in a place that it's not really protected. And tefillin, you don't want to leave unprotected, so you want to carry them, but you can't carry them because it's Shabbat, and you can't carry. So what do? Halachically? Machnisam zug zug. You bring them in pair at a time, meaning you put on the tefillin shel rosh, you put on the tefillin shel yad, you're wearing them as clothing, and you walk in your house. And then you go back out, you take it off, you go back out, and you do it again. Let's say you find a bunch of sets of tefillin. So you can do each one pair at a time. But notice what it says here. The woman can also wear the tefillin, put it on, walk inside wearing the tefillin. And if you hold that women are a totally different category, we know that tefillin is a time-bound mitzvah because you only do it during the day and not at night, and only during the week and not on Shabbat. The women are exempt from this, and therefore, if women don't wear tefillin, then they shouldn't be allowed to wear these for the purposes of carrying, if we just distinguish between men and women. So here comes the interesting line. Hatam kasava Rabbi Meir who said this, it's a Stam Mishnah we attribute to Rabbi Meir. He must hold Laila's man tefillin hu, Vishabbat's man tefillin hu. Sounds like, according to Rabbi Meir, Nashim are actually obligated in tefillin because he must hold, and as in order to say that women can carry the tefillin inside, you would have to say, theoretically, if you hold Nashim am b'fnei atzman, then the Gemara is suggesting that maybe Rabbi Meir thinks that, number one, Shabbat is a time you can wear tefillin, and number two, it's also worn even at night you can wear tefillin, which means that it's not time-bound in any way, which means that women are actually obligated. Now, whether you want to come and say from here, this shows women are obligated in tefillin, I don't know. But it definitely is a suggestion that would seem to indicate that there is some opinion that women would be obligated in tefillin. Okay, now back to this ring. So the ring is, when you wear this ring, okay, the whole idea we just said in the Mishnah, tabat, if it's a signet ring, then, and the woman wears it, what do we say? She's obligated by Torah law. Now, generally, when we talk about carrying, how are you carrying something? You're carrying something in your hand, right? You take something in your hand and you carry it, right? That's carrying. But the ring she wears on her finger, right? It's on her finger. That's not a normal way of carrying. You wouldn't carry something generally by sticking it on your finger. Let's say I want to get my ring from one place to the other. I wouldn't stick it on my finger. I'd put it in my pocketbook or a bag or something like that. Maybe not. We'll get to that. But the Gemara now questions, it's doing hotzah with a shinoi, with this change. If it's with a change, then it should only be asur midurabanan. Anything you do in a non-typical manner is only forbidden by rabbinic law. And yet the Mishnah says, you're chayav midoraita. So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah be'isha gizbarit askinan. All sorts of interesting things we're hearing about women today. It could be a woman who is a treasurer. Okay, what do you see here? Women maybe did have important jobs in those days, right? A woman who was, right, that this was all, that our Mishnah would be relating to a woman who was a treasurer. Okay, she was handling money, in which case, therefore, this was her business, right? Women weren't only weavers and other things that we would generally attribute to women of those times, but women could also maybe have been gizbariot. And therefore, now what does that have to do with anything? Well, that would then be the traditional way that women wore their rings. They would carry their ring out on their finger. If you had a signet ring and you were working in the business, what would you do? You put the ring on your finger and that's how you would carry it. So it must be, we're talking about a woman who that was her job and that's how she generally carried it. Amar Rabba, teratz te'isha ish ma'ika l'meimer. So now you've explained why a woman would be obligated midoraita, but what about a man being obligated doraita? A man doesn't generally wear his ring when he carries it. Okay, especially, remember, when is a man chayav midoraita? If he takes a ring that's not a signet ring, right? Reasonable, he would wear a signet ring, but he wouldn't wear a regular ring. That's generally women's jewelry. So if he carries a ring on his finger, that's a very atypical manner for a man to be wearing this ring. So how can you explain this? So Ela Amarava, he gives a different explanation. You don't have to say it was an Isha Gizbarit. You could say, Pa'amim sha'adam noten le'ishto tabat sheyesh aleh chotam leholicha b'kufsa u'minichata b'yada ad shemagat lekufsa. You can imagine he probably didn't think there were too many women Gizbariyot, and therefore he explains like this. Sometimes a man gives his wife his ring, his signet ring, to put in a box to protect it, right? He's busy, finished his work. He said, oh, can you take this, honey, and put it away and, take care of it for me? So what does she do? Instead of carrying it, right, you could carry a ring in your hand, you could put it in your pocketbook or in some sort of bag, but it might fall, it's very small. So she will likely, what's the best way to protect a ring? Stick it on her finger so it won't fall off, and she'll carry it in that way to the box. Obviously, you'd have to assume his fingers were not so much wider than hers and it would fit in her finger, but okay. And we still have to explain to Ish, when's he gonna wear a ring? Well, and here you get a little insight into what people did in those days and what jobs were male jobs and female roles. She might have a nice, beautiful jewelry ring that she has. And it breaks, and she wants him to bring it to the shuk. He was the one going out more to the shuk to get it fixed. And he takes it to the shuk. What does he do with it? He sticks it on his finger so that, again, assuming it fits on some finger of his, so that he can get it fixed. Okay, so again, this is just the best way actually to carry a ring and protect it so you don't lose it is actually to wear it in that way, in which case we've resolved our issue of the Mishnah that a ring is normally worn in that way, and that's why it's forbidden from the Torah. Okay, moving on to the next cases. V'lo b'kulyar, v'lo b'kovelet. My kulyar, amarav, machbanta. It's a brooch that would attach the two sides of the shirt to each other, a brooch that she would wear around her neck. So that's considered carrying, okay? That's not really part of the clothes. Kovelet amarav, chumrata de pilon. This is what we saw, a bag, a satchel full of spices, a bundle of spices or herbs. Bechein amarav asi chumrata de pilon. He also said the same thing. Tanu Rabbanan. Now we're going to have a braita about the following, the kovelet. And we're going to see that this kovelet, this bundle of spices, there's three opinions about it. We saw this the other day about something else. There were three opinions. Again, what are the three opinions? Either forbidden by Torah law, or permitted entirely, or the middle position, permitted by the Torah, but forbidden by the rabbis. So we're going to see all three positions about this, right? Our Mishnah said there were two positions. If you remember, we had Rabbi Meir said you're chayav chatan, and chachamim potrim. Potrim generally means patur aval asur. It's forbidden by the rabbis. So here goes the Braita. Tanu Rabbanan lo titzei b'kovelet v'im yatzta chayavet chatat divrei Rabbi Meir. That matches our Mishnah. It's from Torah law. Chachamim omrim lo titzei v'im yatzta p'tura. It's only forbidden by the rabbinic law. Rabbi Eliezer omer yotza isha b'kovelet lechatchila. She can actually go out with it, no problem. B'mai kamiflage. So what's the root of their debate? Rabbi Meir savar masoihu. Rabbanan savre tachshitu v'dil mashalfo m'chavya v'atila tuye. Okay, so Rabbi Meir says this isn't, people don't wear this as clothing, therefore it goes into the category of masoi, it's a burden, that's not allowed. Rabbi Eliezer says, no, I'm sorry, Rabbanan say it's actually jewelry. It's a decorative. People would use this for decorative purposes. They'd hang a little satchel on them with herbs in it. It was pretty. People like that. It's almost like wearing flowers. So again, what's the concern? She might take it off. Rabbi Eliezer savar. Now, generally, why is she wearing this? It's for smell purposes. So Rabbi Eliezer savar man darka lemirmei isha sherecha ra. Why would you generally wear this? Well, if you sweat and you smell and you want to take away the bad smell. So here comes the logic. Isha sherecha ra lo shalfia umachavia. This is where, right, these are the fascinating Gemaras. It's all about human behavior, right? I always find it interesting when the Gemara tries to get into what's the psyche of the human person, right? Let's try to get into your mind, okay? You're walking around carrying a satchel because you smell bad. Are you going to take that off and show your friends, right? You have nice jewelry, you might show your friends. But if you're wearing this satchel to take away bad smells, you're not going to go show my friend, oh, look what I got to take away the bad odors in my body. You're kind of showing, oh, I smell bad. So therefore, she's not going to take it off below atila tuya arba mopurushid arbim, and that's why it's entirely allowed. She's not going to go carrying this because she's not going to take it off. Okay, now we have a question. So we see that Rabbi Eliezer allows it entirely. However, there's a braita, hatanya, Rabbi Eliezer poter b'kovelet u'b'tzluchit shel plaiton. Rabbi Eliezer exempts in two cases, this kovelet and the tzluchit shel plaiton, the balsam. But notice what it says, poter. Poter generally means patur, you're exempt, but you're actually, it's forbidden to do by rabbinic law. That's not what we just said he said. In this braita, it said he allows it entirely. Now this is, again, the Gemara always looks at the word patur, and we're going to see this all around Shabbat. Patur means patur av alasor, but in the Tannaitic period, it didn't necessarily always mean patur av alasor. Patur sometimes meant it's actually allowed. Okay, this is one of those cases. So now they're going to say, lo, kashya, how does the Gemara resolve it? Because it's not sufficient for the Gemara to say, oh, in Tannaitic times they didn't view things that way, because once the Amoraim viewed things in a particular way, they kind of transplanted it on the Tannaim also. They must have also spoken the same way we did. And when they said patur, they must have really meant patur. Why, in this unique case, did he mean patur and it really meant mutal? Lo kashya hakikaya de Rabbi Meir, hakikaya de Rabbanan. One case, he was relating to what Rabbi Meir said. When Rabbi Meir said you're obligated by Torah law, he was saying, no, you're exempt from Torah law. He also meant you're even exempt from rabbinic law, but he was referring to the person who said you're obligated by Torah law, so he was talking on a Torah perspective. When he was speaking to the rabbis who said you're not obligated by Torah law, you're obligated by rabbinic law, and then he said, no, it's mutar legamrei, that's when he used the words mutar. Right? It all depends. This is a good example of it all depends who you're speaking to and what the conversation's about, right? When you say something, you're responding to something else. It's why it's always a problem when they take things out of context. So now they're going to explain a little, as I just said, Ki kaya de Rabbi Meir, when he was referring to Rabbi Meir, Damar Chayat Chatat, who said you're obligated from the Torah, Amar Le Patur. No, you're not actually obligated to bring a Chatat sacrifice because you're not obligated by Torah law. De Amre Patur of Alasur, right? And then he meant, Kikaya de Rabbanan, de Amre Patur of Alasur, when he was referring to the rabbis who said, you're exempt by Torah law, but you're forbidden by the rabbis, Amar Iu Mutar Lechatchila. Then he said, you're totally exempt. Okay, you're allowed entirely. Umay Rabbi Meir. Now we have to say, well, it's very nice to suggest this, but where was he responding to Rabbi Meir? Was there really this source that had Rabbi Meir's opinion and then his opinion? So, yeah, Tanya, as it says in the following braita, Lo tetzei isha b'mafteach shebiyada. A woman can't go out with a key. Okay, this is always a problem when you're in a place where there's no eruv. What do you do with your key? She can't go out with the key in her hand. V'im yatzta chayevet chatat. And if she did, she's obligated by Torah law, divrei Rabbi Meir. And now comes Rabbi Eliezer as a reaction to Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Eliezer poter b'kovelet u'b'tzluchit shel plaiton. He matirs both this kovelet, the satchel with herbs, and the tzluchit shel plaiton, the flask with balsam oil. Okay, so first of all, it's a very strange source because Rabbi Meir was talking about keys, and Rabbi Eliezer says, well, it's okay to go out with these other two things. So the Gemara says, kovelet man dechar shma. Where did kovelet, why did Rabbi Eliezer react to Rabbi Meir, and not about the key, but about something entirely different? So they say, there must be missing words in this braita, and this is how you should read it. Chisur machasra b'hachi katane. That's typical when they say there's obviously words missing because How would he jump in with that topic when that wasn't at all what they were talking about? This is what it says. So Rabbi Meir basically starts off with the key and then obviously must have moved on to the kovelet and the tzluchit shel plaiton. And then Rabbi Eliezer poter b'kovelet u'tzluchit shel plaiton. He agreed with him about the key, but he disagreed about these other two things. Now they add also these other words. B'med dvarim amurim. This is all in what case? K'sheyesh b'hem bosem. When there's actually perfume in, okay, there's still perfume in the satchel. Aval ein b'hem bosem chayevet. But if there was no more perfume in there, then she'd be obligated for carrying it. So Amar Rav Ad bar Ahava, he's going to infer something from here. Zot omeret hamotzi ochalim pachot mikishiur bekli chayav daha'en babosem ki pachot mishiur bekli dami. Okay, what we're going to say is if there's no bosem, it's like if you carry something that's less than a shiur. To explain this, I have to go back and explain something basic about laws of carrying. If you carry out something really teeny that has no significance, you're actually not obligated by Torah law because we learned about Shabbat, everything has to be with intent. Now, if you take something that, let's say I have a piece of dirt in my hand, like a little piece of dirt that was, or in my pocket, there's a teeny little piece of dirt from something, and I don't ever need that piece of dirt and it's teeny and it's not significant, I'm not chayevet for carrying that if I didn't take it out of my pocket. Likewise, if I have food, we're going to get to this, there's a specific shiur of food, of each item of food, even for different items might even be different, for what's significant when it comes to food. Now, if I carry a piece of food, let's say I have a raisin in my hand. I'd say a raisin is not very significant, right? If I eat a raisin, that's so little, it's really not of importance. If I carry that, I'm not obligated. What if I carry it in a utensil? Now, the utensil is serving the purpose of carrying the food. So generally, we'd say, so my food doesn't have enough of a shiur, but my utensil is a utensil, and I'm carrying the utensil. But since the utensil is serving the food, and the only reason I have the utensil is for the food, what we generally say is the utensil is neutralized by the food, and we go by the food. But what he's saying here is, if you say, what happened? You had this kli that was carrying the perfume. If there's no perfume in it, okay, then what do we say, right? If there's no perfume, then already you're obligated. Why are you obligated? Because now you're carrying an empty utensil. Okay, the utensil becomes important. Okay, so now, according to this, what do we say? So if you, I'm now going to read this line again, Rav Ad bar Ahava. If you take out ochel, pachot mishiur, but you take it out not in your hand, but in your kli, you take it in a bowl, we're now going to say you must be obligated for taking the kli, because he's making a comparison between having no perfume in the kli to having not enough of a shiur of food in the kli. So at that point, the kli takes on significance. When there's bosem, it goes by the bosem. When there's no bosem, it goes by the kli. So now he says, right, and bekatane chayevet, and there it says you're obligated. So Rav Ashi Amar no. When there's a little bit of food in there, there's still a little bit of food, and we go by the food. Here, where there's no perfume, there's nothing, right? It's true there's a bit of a smell in there, but there's nothing, right? Because there's the remnants of what was in there, but there's nothing of mamash. We talked about this before. When something, there's no substance in there. There's nothing anymore. So when there's nothing, then we go by the kli. But when you're carrying a little bit of food, we go by the shiur of the little bit of food. In which case, you won't be obligated mid'oraita if you're carrying a big kli, or even a small kli, with food in it, and there's not enough of a shiur of food, you're not actually obligated. But here, if you're carrying this empty kli, which is holding no perfume anymore, then you're going to be obligated because it's going to go by the kli. Okay, now that we talked about this balsam oil, we're going to get off on a big sidetrack that's going to take us to the next Mishnah. I'm actually going to finish to the Mishnah today on the next page. We're off on a tangent now. We're going to bring verses from Amos that talk about balsam oil and the significance of it. And from there, we're going to get to the things that he was criticizing the people for doing. From there, we're going to jump to Yeshayahu, where he was criticizing people for doing things. And then we're going to try to connect this. And why is the Gemara talking about this here? Well, at first glance, it's doing it because it's talking about the balsam oil. I think that there's something more going on here. So here starts. Reshit shmanim yimshachu. Okay, the whole pasuk is from Amos Perek Vav, pasuk Vav. Hashotim b'mizrakei yain, those who drink from mizrakei wine. We're going to talk about what is mizrakei. The reshit shmanim yimshachu, and they put on the best of the oil. This is how we'll get to the balsam oil. The lo nachlu al shever Yosef, and they didn't care about how pained Yosef was. Okay, it means, right, the reference to the Jewish people. Okay, they're just living in their own world, busy with, anointing themselves and things like that, and drinking wine. Reshit shmanim yimshachu. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel ze Platon. Okay, this is balsam oil. That's the best of the oils. We've seen this before. Mativ Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says no, it can't possibly be the best because look at the following source. Af al Platon gazar Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava velo hodulo. There was a series of things that the rabbis forbade after the Churban Habayit, after the destruction of the temple. To remember the destruction of the temple, you shouldn't do too many happy things. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava said, we also shouldn't use balsam oil anymore. Velo hodulo, but the rabbis didn't agree with him. Now, if Platon was the best of the oils, and this was what they were criticized for, you would think that Zecher l'Chorban, this would be forbidden. Right, and if the whole issue is we don't want people to enjoy themselves too much, amai lo hodulo. If this is right, this is real ta'anug, and this is right, why wouldn't the rabbis agree with him? So Amar le Abaye, wait a minute. If you're going to say that everything in that verse should have been forbidden Zecher l'Chorban, well, the first part of the verse wasn't forbidden Zecher l'Chorban either. Hadechtiv hashokim b'mizrakei yayin. There's actually a debate about what these mizrakei yayin were. Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi debated it. Chad amar knish knin. Okay, one said it's a multi-spouted kli vessel where a bunch of people would drink wine from the same kli, right? Not in the time of Corona. The Chad amar shemizarkim kosotehen ze lezeh. They throw their cups one at the other. So hachanami de asur, you're going to say both these things are forbidden, zecher l'chorban. Behan, we know they weren't, because Rabba bar Rav Huna, ikla be Reish Galuta, always things happen in the Reish Galuta, got to the house of the Reish Galuta, v'shata b'knish knin, people they were drinking with these big glass, these big cups that had a bunch of spouts in them, below Amar le below midi, and he didn't criticize anybody. It could be he didn't criticize people because it was dangerous to start criticizing the Reish Galuta. It wasn't always so simple in that house, but it seems like it was okay, the fact that they were doing this. Ella, so what does he answer? Ella kol midi di ipe ta'anu, the ipe simcha gazru rabbanan. What's the criteria for what they forbade after the Churban? It was things that both have pleasure and cause happiness. Now the balsam oil just is pleasurable, but it doesn't cause happiness. And therefore, midi di ipe ta'anu, v'lepe simcha lo gazru rabbanan, and that's why they weren't gozer on that, and they weren't gozer on the wine either. I don't know exactly why wine wouldn't be considered simcha. Yain yisamach levav enosh. You would think maybe that does have both. I'm not really sure why. They don't relate to it. Okay, continuing on the verses in Amos there. Now we're going 2 psukim backwards to Pasuk Dalet in that parak. Hashochvim al mitot shein. They're lying on ivory beds. Usruchin al arsotan. And they're stretched out on their beds. Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. So what's so bad about this? Milamed shayu mashtinim mayim b'fnei mitotehen avumim. They were so lazy, they would get up on their beds, right? You wake up in the morning, you have to go to the bathroom, or at night, you're too lazy to get out of bed. So what would they do? They would just, urinate right there, okay, right in front of their beds. Migadef ba Rabbi Avahu. Okay, Rabbi Avahu said, what are you talking about? That makes no sense that that's what they were doing. Why? What's the punishment for what they did? They're going to be the first to go into exile. Now, that sounds like a pretty harsh punishment for doing something like that. Okay, it might be disgusting and you shouldn't do it, and it's not appropriate, but it's not exactly something you should be exiled for. So Ella Amar Rabbi Avahu, right? And especially if you're talking about beds, it must be it's something else having to do with beds. They would eat and drink together. They would put their beds together. They would swap partners. And they would fill their beds with semen that wasn't theirs. That's disgusting, and for that you should be exiled. So either Rabbi Avahu said it, or in a Braita it says, if we already mentioned this, urinating by your bed, so now we're going to bring another source about this. There's 3 things that cause man to be impoverished. Okay, for doing that, basically you're going to become. Rashi says, by the way, the arom is just saying that's the way normally you're in your bed, you're naked in your bed, and that's why it's just talking about that. The issue is really that he's lazy and he doesn't get up to get dressed to go outside to the bathroom. Okay, we'll see exactly what that means soon. And that his wife curses him in his face. Now this is strange because 2 of them are things that the man does himself, and the other is something his wife does. It seems, why should he be impoverished because of his wife? We'll get to that soon also. So first we're going to deal with this, and we're now going to narrow the issue here. It's only if he's facing his bed. If he's facing outwards, late lamba. It's disgusting if you're doing it toward your bed. If you're doing it away from your bed, not as disgusting. And if you're facing your bed, it's only if you're urinating onto the ground. But if you're doing it into a utensil, right, like a bedpan, late lamba, then it's also not an issue. We mean someone who didn't wash their hands at all. But if you're stingy with the water and you don't wash with that much water, then it's okay. The lav milti, but this isn't actually true. It's actually a problem if you don't wash with enough water. As Rav Chisda said, I wash with a full handful of water, and because of that, I've been blessed with abundance and greatness. Okay, so therefore, the opposite of this is if you don't wash with enough water, you'll be impoverished. So what does this have to do with the man? And you'll see what this has to do with also what we've been learning. Talking about jewelry. What's the issue with the man? He doesn't buy her jewelry. If he doesn't buy her jewelry, then she comes to curse him because he doesn't buy her jewelry. Well, he's going to become impoverished because he didn't spend his money on things that were important. Interesting. Mara says it's important. But this is only obviously if he has the money and he doesn't spend it. If he doesn't have money to spend the jewelry, we're not going to blame him. But if your wife is cursing you because you didn't buy her jewelry, then you're going to actually become impoverished. Okay, basically, the Gemara, again, this is all the Gemara's way of saying, or really it's the Braita, of saying these are things that are important, right? It doesn't really mean you're going to definitely become impoverished if you don't do it and you don't, right? Does this mean it's not true? No, it's a way of encouraging people to do. Interesting, they're encouraging their wives to buy jewelry, and we're going to get back to this very soon, so hold off. Jarish Rava Berei de Rav Yilad. My dichtiv. So now we're going to jump to Psukim in Yeshayahu. My dichtiv vayomer Hashem yan ki gavhu benot Sion. Okay, that they became arrogant, the daughters of Zion. What does that mean? Shayu malchot b'komaz kufa. What does it mean? They were tall. It means they stood with arrogance. Vatelechna netuyat garon. Shayu malchot eked b'tzad gudal. What would they do? They walk very slowly. Okay, as we say in English, sauntering. Okay, in a very sexual manner. Okay, eked b'tzad gudal means that the ankle of one would be matching the toe of the other. Right? Normally, you take bigger steps than that. They walk very slowly, sauntering. Umishakchot enayim. Okay, what does that mean? Right, I just want to make sure I'm reading that. It's misakchot enayim. Okay, we're just reading parts of this pasuk. Dahavu mele'an kuchla le'enayu u'miramzam. They would put on a lot of makeup and they would hint with their eyes. They'd make eyes at the men to seduce them. Haloch v'tafof. What does that mean? Shayu malchot aruka b'tzad k'tzara. Tall women were brought next to a short woman in order to stand out. Ubi raglehen te'akasna. What does this mean? Rav Yitzchak, Debei Rabbi Ami, milamed shemitilot more va'afarsimon b'minalehem. They would put perfume, this balsam oil, and more, which is also another perfume, on their shoes. Umahalchot b'shukei Yerushalayim. They walk through the shuk with their shoes like that. V'kevan shemigiot etza b'chorei Yisrael. They'd see these young men. Boatot bekarka umitizot alehem. They would stamp on the ground. The perfume would spray at them. Umachnisot bahem yetzer hara ke'eres bekaus. And they would put the yetzer hara, tempt them, right, like the venom of a viper. Okay, like this is a real strong way of talking about these women that were trying to seduce the men. My porno tehen. So what's their punishment? Kedidarish Rabba Bar Ula v'hayat tachat bosem mak yihiyeh. Okay, which means we're now in Psukim, also in Yeshayahu in that perek. So instead of their bosem, it will be mak, it will be rotten. Makom shayumit basmot bo nasa nemakim nemakim. The place where they would put their perfume would become rotten. B'tacha chagura nikbeh. Instead of a belt, they would be wearing a rope. Right? Instead of a nice fancy belt, it would be a rope. What did they learn from this word nakfa? Makom shayu chagurot b'tziltzul nasa nikafim nikafim. The place where they would wear something nice around their waist would end up becoming bruises. Okay, that area would be all bruised. B'tacha maset miksha korcha, where she had her well-set hairdo, would become karachat, she'd be bald. Makom shayu mitkashtot bo nasa krachim krachim, the place where she would put all these decorative things in her hair. Right, this obviously is referencing all these things in the Mishnah with the hair and the jewelry. B'tacha pitigil machgoatzak, instead of fine dress, she'll be wearing sackcloth. What did they darshan with this? Pitigil, they darshan ptachim hamivi'im lidei gila, the openings in her body that caused her pleasure, obviously sexual. Yehiyu lemachgoret sak, they will turn into sackcloth. Okay, nobody will be there basically. Kitachat yofi, amarava, what does that mean? In place of beauty, hainu damar inche chalufe shufra kiba. Instead of beauty, you'll have sores. Vesipach Hashem kadkod benot Zion. The crown of the daughters of Zion will be scabbed. The word sipach is used also v'se'et v'sapacha. We're going to see. One is with a sin, one is with a samach, but those interchange all the time. And she's basically going to become leprous. Hashem pitchan ya'ara, he will lay bare her hidden, her open parts. Rav u'shmuel charamar nishbechu kikiton. She'll be full of blood, dam ziva, blood will be pouring out of her, which again will make it impossible for her to have sexual relations. What does that mean? That she'll be full of hair there, like a forest, and Rashi says, again, nobody will want to sleep with her. Okay, so these are all punishments the women will get for doing the following licentious or, seductive acts. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amarav, Anshe Yerushalayim, Anshe Shachatz hayu. Adam, okay, they were very arrogant, and they would start speaking. They were very vulgar. They would speak about their sexual activities. So Adam Omer L'Chavero, Bameh Sa'adeta Hayom. What did you eat today? Which doesn't mean eat, right? Who did you sleep with today? B'pat Amela or B'pat She'ena Amela. With a virgin or not a virgin? A Pat Amela is one that's already been worked. Right, a dough that's been worked, meaning she's not a virgin, or was she a virgin? The yayin gordale or yayin chardale, with white wine or dark wine, meaning was her complexion light or was her complexion dark? B'masav rachab or b'mesav katzar, was it at a wide bed or a narrow bed, which is a reference to the woman, was she heavy or thin? B'chaver tov or b'chaver ra, which doesn't mean what, it's a nice way, it means was she pretty or not pretty, right? These are all euphemisms for, ways of saying other things. And that's the way they would talk. Amar Rav Chisda v'chulan liznut, and all this was about znut, was about prostitution. Amar Rachava, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Atzei Yerushalayim. Okay, now the last thing we're going to have is about how great it was before the destruction. We talked about things to do before the, to remember the destruction. Now we're going to remember how good things were, connected also to things we're learning, and then we'll do a sum up. Amar Rachava, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Atzei Yerushalayim shel kinamon hayu. All the trees there were made of cinnamon. There was this beautiful smell wafting around from when they would burn the fires. But they were no longer, right? This is remembering how beautiful these times were. It's only a teeny bit left, like a barley. And you can find them in the Geniza and the secret places of the Malkat Tzimtzamai, whoever she is. Okay? And basically, there's really nothing left of this, only a teeny bit. Okay, what's all this coming for? So my reading of this is such. We talked a lot about jewelry. If you remember when we started the parak, we said that in the Mishnah Eretz Yisrael of Safra, he talks about the fact that there's sources that talk about that women shouldn't wear jewelry at all. And here the Mishnah is allowing jewelry, just not on Shabbat, because they might take it off and show their friends. But again, jewelry was something that can be used, and as we see in our page, for positive. A husband should be buying jewelry for his wife. Right? On the other hand, it also could be used for negative, where women can use them for seductive purposes. And what it's kind of warning you about is, use it for the right purposes, everything in moderation, and things should be used for, and maybe that's why also they said a husband should buy for his wife. They should be used between husband and wife and not for the woman to be attracting other men. And I think here there's really a whole, since we've been spending a lot of time on jewelry, a bit of rabbinic, agadic approach to, be careful about jewelry, everything in moderation, and watch your actions, watch what could come out of your actions, and, the perfumes and the jewelry and all that can all be used for bad, and, keep it, but use it for good reasons. That. So we'll start with the next mission tomorrow about things that a man can't go out with on Shabbat on a Torah level.